Welcome to the Ascend Your Success podcast. Whether you're just starting out or are a veteran looking to grow your business, you're in the right place. Join us to learn how to achieve financial freedom while working and living life on your own terms. Hear valuable insights, strategies, and interviews with successful entrepreneurs. Get ready to achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Ready? Let's go.
What's going on, guys? My name is Wyatt Reed, and this is the Ascend Your Success podcast. And today I get to talk to my friend Keith Gillespie. Did I say that right? Gillespie?
Yes, sir. You sure did.
Awesome.
Good
awesome,
work,
man.
Thanks.
Dude, Keith is, I read in your bio, man, and it blew me away. Like, I need to work on my bio a little bit, apparently.
I use ChatGPT a little bit to help me out. Not going to lie.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks,
Well,
man.
Just to introduce you a little bit, Keith's the founder of REI Automated. It's an all-in-one solution for newbies in real estate investing to kind of scale your business up and without having to cold call or lowball, which we know happens all the time.
Yeah.
It says you've invested in 34 states, raised over $10 million in capital, so I'd definitely love to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
And you've helped over 400 students, man. This is amazing.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I need to update that. We're over the 500 student threshold.
Dude, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's amazing. So
Thanks for having me, man.
obviously
Cool.
it takes a lot to build that, a lot of time, effort, money, blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about like getting started in real estate and what that looked like for you.
Dude, getting started, we had a rough go at it. I got started in 2016. And so kind of taking you back to where I was at the time, graduated high school when I was 17 years old, joined the Marine Corps, and we had just found out, I was working on my credit because we had just found out that we were about to have our first baby, and we're renting this teeny tiny little like 600 square foot, 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. We're now going to have a kid. Where are we going to put her, And so we were going to go buy a house. And so I was working on my credit. And then my squad leader at the time said, Keith, you're really fiscally responsible. You're doing all the right things. I just read this book kind of on finances, sort of, and it really just blew me away. And a lot of the things that I knew to be true, it kind of showed me the light. And I said, sure, I'll read whatever book you got. And he gave me Rich Dad, Poor Dad, as you probably suspected. So I read that book and literally I took action like you've never seen. The very next month, I had created a corporation dedicated to flipping houses. And then I signed up for, some people may have heard, like Fortune Builders and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad coaching, John Martinez sales and negotiation training, just all the things.
You went
boom,
all
boom,
in.
Boom, Grant Cardone University, like month after month, I was just paying for these huge I had just got my credit up, and rather than using that credit to buy a house, I used it to go get 28 credit cards. And so me and my wife leveraged our credit and we started our business. So it was a rough go, man. And I'm up to 54 programs now, like webinars, seminars, apprenticeships, coaching, whatever you want to call them. But at the time, we were going through like one a month for a very long time, for the first 4.5 years, really. And it was hard because I wasn't stateside a lot of the time. And we, like, literally for both of our kids, we have 2 children, 7 and 9. And for both of them, I didn't know that we were pregnant until I got home, sea bags in hand. My wife opens the door. Surprise, we're pregnant. Like if that kind of tells you anything about how little I was here and available to work on our business. And so I really had a need of like creating systems, documenting things, creating SOPs, hiring the right way, putting processes and procedures in place to make us more effective and more efficient. Because in the Marine Corps is not a 9-to-5 job, right? You have it's a lifestyle. You are working 12 hours, but even in 12 hours you're not working, you're still doing ancillary, I think is the right word, ancillary duties. And then you're gone a whole bunch of the time. So I only had about an hour to make my phone calls and to work my businesses. And that hour needed to be as efficient and as effective as humanly possible. And that's kind of the both the birth of my real estate investing business as well as REI Automated, both of which I still run into the thing.
That's awesome. I love, because I tell people this all the time, like, we're not telling people to do anything we haven't done ourselves, which is investing in mentors. I love how you like dove all in like immediately, because it took me a second. I was trying to do it on my own for 3 or 4 months, and I kept spinning
Yeah.
my wheels and spinning my wheels. And I finally, it was funny because I hired my mentor, and like within 3 months I had 2 deals. And it's like,
Nice. Good.
you're gonna like,
Cut the learning curve.
yeah. It's so much faster. You get to like focus on the things that you really need to be focused on, because we don't know what we need to be focused
That's
on when
right.
we first get started. We're all over
You
the
got
place.
caught up building the website and what color should my freaking logo be in the name. Shut up and go talk to a seller. Like, nobody cares what the name of your business is. It could be the horsecrap.com. Like, nobody cares what the domain is. Go talk to sellers and be educated on how to talk to them and how to structure it. Not all this other stuff that you learn in business school or YouTube.
Yeah. I tell people you can work on that anytime. You need to start talking to sellers immediately.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what you're talking about, like that's you need to be on the phone with people
Yeah.
always. So, well, so what did that look like for you when you were just starting your real estate business? Obviously, you were doing it virtually a lot. You had your wife that was helping, I'm sure, but what did it look like as far as like lead generation and all of that?
In the beginning, let's just like loosely define what I'm talking about. Inbound and outbound marketing. Anything that is inbound, they're filling out a form on my website, whether it's PPC, PPL, SEO, or maybe like billboards or TV. All that stuff, it costs money, and it's pretty stinking expensive. At the time, we're on more or less like a bread and water budget. We like to say we're balling on a budget. And so I was doing a ton of outbound. So we were doing, the most expensive thing that I did by far was actually direct mail and cold call. But then I also did text blasting and ringless voicemail, cold email blasts, social media posts, Craigslist, bandit signs, driving for dollars, door hangers, magnets on my cars, door knocking, newspaper ads. Like, I literally did everything that I possibly could. Hundreds of thousands of dollars went into this over the next the first 4.5 years of my business was all outbound. And then the last 4.5 years of my business total, I've been investing for 9 years. The last 4.5 have been inbound. Man, I love inbound so much better. But I realized in the beginning, you have to pay your dues, right? And get into it super cheap. We want to lower risk, and money out equals risk, right? So keeping your expenses and operating expenses super low by doing the cheaper stuff, or even free sweat marketing, cold calling people off of FSBO or whatever. Yeah, you got to pay your dues, get some money in the bank before you can have the luxury of having people contact you.
How did that transition to, how long did it take, and what did that transition look like when you said, hey, I want to start coaching this?
Wow, I've never been asked that question. That's an interesting question. Gosh, so it was in 2020. 2020, I really got my sea legs under me, I guess. Like 2016, we barely made it through. 2017, we barely made it through. Same thing with 2018, 2019. Starting in the end of 2019 is when things started like picking up, and I started getting good, especially with the sales and negotiation part. So now I'm negotiating really good deep discounts and putting properties under contract for something other than cash, meaning creative financing. I'm buying houses subject to owner finance. And so not only do I have really great price, but I have amazing terms as well, lowering my risk, lowering my barrier of entry, like how much cash do I need to bring to close? And that just paid huge dividends by the time I got into 2020. 2020, we made the most money. We made more money in 2020 than 16, 17, 18, and 19 all put together. I more than quadrupled what I was making in the Marine Corps for like basic allowance for housing, basic allowance for sustenance, and my basic pay. All three things lumped together, we more than quadrupled it. So I was like, hot diggity dog, this whole real estate thing is awesome, right? I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps in 2020. The Marine Corps is really hard to leave, right? Because it's a huge brotherhood. And let's just talk about the real like practical side of things. It's a secure job with, the more dangerous it is, the more you get paid, and healthcare is free, and housing is free, everything. So it's a very difficult decision to leave. But in 2020, I was like, this is such a huge opportunity cost if I stay. And I had reached out to my mentor, who was, bringing me onto his calls, being like, dude, what the heck are you doing? Like, how are you able to do this? Weren't you just in China? last week. And like last time I talked to you, you're in Guam and then Guadalcanal and then whatever, like I'm on a boat with Wi-Fi, and I told him, I was like, dude, it's the operating system that we built. It's really helping me prioritize my time so that I'm only doing the things that are going to move the needle. Most of it is automated, and what isn't automated, I've delegated out to somebody else so that I'm only doing the highest value tasks that are absolutely critical to the nature of the business. And he goes, so he found out my personal mission statement. He was like, Keith, you're not really in alignment with your own personal mission statement if you don't share this with other people. Like, you don't need to keep this close to your chest. I would encourage you to start, because a lot of people had come to me, a lot being like somewhere between 10 and 20 people over the last, 2019, 2020, as they've seen this success. They're like, dude, I don't care what it costs. Like, whatever you have built out, I want it. And the problem was, it wasn't templated, right? It was only for me. It was only for my business. And I didn't have any videos on how to do anything. It was never meant for anybody other than me. And so all of 2020, I created videos and began writing the code along with my business partner at the time, writing the code to template it out for other people to come in. And in October of 20, it literally took us 10 months, not 9 months, no, 10 months for us to completely template everything out. And we did a soft launch in October of 2020. And that was really how it started. It was my mentor saying, you're not in alignment with your own mission statement. You might want to share this with people.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I wrote something down as you were talking, and you were talking about barely making it for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people see what we do and they see the success, but they don't see what we went through to get it. There were 3 or 4 years for me where some of my employees were getting paid more than me.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
you quit your
Absolutely.
9-to-5 job to do this, for freedom. And then this is what happens. And then, people don't stick with it long enough. So it's so important to understand that, like, it takes a lot, and it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of sleepless nights,
Yeah.
It was a lot. So you're not just going to get into this and just be an overnight success. And you shouldn't even remotely think that, right?
Yeah. Even still, for full transparency, this morning, I woke up with a little bit of a pit in my stomach. I have so much, I have all these high priority. This is called my taking action. I wanted to write down this. These are all the things that I'm focused on. You're on here, by the way. Wyatt Reed.
Go. Hit it.
These are all the things that I need to take care of. And I was like, dude, there's too many people relying on me. I'm the bottleneck for so many things. Like, I don't want to let people down. I hate being the bottleneck. And I was sharing with my wife, we took the kid. So I woke up 2 hours early, no alarm. It's still freaking dark outside. And came in here, sat down, turned the lights on, had my cup of coffee, and knocked out a couple hours of work before we took the kids to school. Got back. I wasn't feeling it, bro. And I told my wife, we take our kids to school together. I told my wife, we sat in the garage, and I said, babe, like, I'm not looking forward to today. And she goes, sometimes my wife is like my biggest cheerleader, and she's super, super sweet and like rah-rah. And other times she just like gives it to me brutally. And she goes, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, I don't know yet. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit on the couch until I figure it out. I'm not doing anything. I don't like how I feel. And I told her, I sat on the couch and I said, if you aren't looking forward to your day or your week or tomorrow, whatever, if you're not looking forward to it, you're doing life wrong. You're doing it wrong. The stuff still needs to get done. All right. So I'm not trying to say I'm not saying skirt your responsibilities, but like, you have to be looking forward to it. And so anyway, into the story, long story short is I have never gone mountain biking. I've never been on a mountain bike trail in my life. I have a mountain bike. And so I typed into Google mountain trails near me. I went on this thing. I absolutely made an amazing fool of myself doing the most technical, like, I should never have been out there. And these guys are coming by with like $6,000 bikes. I just got this thing off of Facebook Marketplace. but it was so much fun. It got me way out my comfort zone. I got home. I ended up doing about 20 miles out there. I got home and she goes, how was it? I go, like, this is so much fun. She goes, well, are you looking for, when are you going back? And I said, tomorrow. I'm going back tomorrow. She said, all right, so how are you feeling? I said, that's all I needed. That's what I needed. I'm no longer doing life wrong. You know, I want to feel good about tomorrow and good about my business and good about our decisions. And so that was a big mental thing. And just to be like really transparent and potentially vulnerable with some people, it's like, I haven't made it. You haven't made it. None of us have made it. New level, new devil. I have a mindset coach, NLP coach. He says that all the time. Keith, new level, new devil. Money doesn't freaking make your problems goes away. It just gives you a different problem to deal with. And that's what I would encourage you, if you're listening, to just learn to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. Be okay doing uncomfortable things and find healthy ways of coping with it.
No, I agree, man. I think too often we put our heads down, we grind, and we look up, and we're just like exhausted all the time, and we've accomplished a lot, but we don't take the time that we really need to get out and do stuff. Like I went and played basketball Saturday with some buddies of mine. That was the first time I've done it in years.
Yeah.
And, really realistically, me and my wife, we took a big step back in 2024 last year, and like just traveled a little bit and, hung out and just said, is this, do we want to keep doing this, or do we want to, are we good? And, you always have people, especially like if you have mentors, they're always pushing you to do better, bigger, better things. They see things in you that, you don't often see in yourself. And, but at the same time, there comes a point where you got to take a break, you got to chill. You're going to just absolutely burn yourself out if you don't. And I had to do that this year, because it's been 5 years of just nonstop grinding, and I've had fun, a little bit. And I've went and done, like I told my wife all the time, like my vacations are when I can go to like real estate events, because it's what I love to do. Like I love to hang out with people and talk to people, but even then I'm still not relaxing. You know what I mean? And I think I lied to myself a lot in the last like 4 years. And I think, like you said, man, we need to take a break every now and then and like get our heads right.
Yeah.
I've been reading this book, Vivid Vision, and Tom actually referred it to me. And it's like, if you want to take some time and you really want to plan out and think about your business, you need to get away from the office, get away from home. You need to go to a cabin in the woods, or you need to just go out in the woods, and just sit with a pad and a pen. Don't take your phone. Don't take your computer. Like that's the stuff we need. We need to disconnect a lot.
I agree. Get away from burning your retinas with screens. Even, and like people, they're like, oh, I decompress every night. I watch TV. I think maybe I'm not against it, but I'm not really for it. Mm-hmm. We do have one TV. There's absolutely no TVs in our bedrooms or anything like that. I am against that. We don't have any video games, and it's like, well, that kind of leaves us to do meaningful things. On Friday, instead of watching a movie or a TV show or whatever, we played an awesome board game with my wife and kids, and it's like, those are the things that are going to make memories. I assure you, watching a TV episode or movie or whatever with your kids is not going to leave a lasting impression or make a fond memory with them.
I agree. Let's get back to
yeah.
We're on a soapbox over
Forget
here.
about this.
No, it's good stuff, man. It's what you said before. It's the real stuff. It's not the stuff that we can teach people to do deals all day long, but man, it's like the mental health side of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, that's so important, and it doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, for sure. Cool. So let's talk about like when you first got started versus where you are now. Obviously, you said you were doing a lot of outbound marketing. Now you're doing a lot of inbound marketing. You've got this. So for me, I'm an engineer, right? I think about things through processes, systems, things like that too. I love what you're saying. Like you put together all your templates and things, SOPs. You're speaking my language.
We can nerd out together.
So let me ask you a question. Do you find it do you have two separate things to where it's like, hey, you're a beginner, like this is what you need to do to get your first deal, and then like once you get your deals, like then we're gonna automate it? Or is it just all one thing to where it's like, hey, this is how you do everything and this is how you put systems and processes in place? Like, can you walk us through kind of like how you coach somebody that's brand new?
Mm-hmm. That's a fantastic question. I don't know how much customization you do for your questions with podcast guests, but that was
It's
exceptional.
off the rip, man.
That
Off
was
the rip.
exceptional. Really great question. So I don't believe in there's one right way of doing something. I'm very, very against somebody pushing their agenda. I'm like, you will catch me so many times saying, this is what I will be. Somebody will ask me a question. I literally just got done with office hours. 10 people came to office hours. 5 of them had questions. Of those 5, most people have 2 or 3 questions. So they're asking me all these questions. I'm in the middle of hiring some people right now. And so here's the thing. I'll always answer with full transparency. There will not be like I'm putting up a show or anything like this. I will answer sometimes and it makes you uncomfortable. You're like, I was not expecting him to say that, right? And so I'll say, here's what I'm doing, but here's what you need to know about what you may need to be doing differently. Like knowing your circumstances are a little bit different than mine. There is no right or wrong way of doing something. It is simply right and left. And what may be correct for me to do is actually incorrect for you to do during this season of your life or your business, right? And so I don't subscribe to this is the right way of doing something. I find that a lot of people who are newer get, we all talk about shiny object syndrome, and they get distracted, just as I did in the beginning. I was talking about the logo and the domain and the color and all that. None of that freaking matters. Let's focus on what's going to bring in the money, revenue in first position, right? And so this may seem counterintuitive or like bad, but like I own a software company that provides a CRM. However, I will tell anybody in an open forum, and let God be my witness, you don't need a CRM to do deals.
Yep.
You can do it with a good old freaking pen and pad or Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. You do have to be organized. If you're not organized, you're naive and foolish. And a CRM is how I choose to be organized, but you do not have to have a CRM. And so that's just one example. That's probably the easiest example that I can give you of like, is there one way that you subscribe to? No, absolutely not. And you can come in at any level. We have 4 different products. One of them is 2 digits and one of them is 5 digits. Like you can come in at where are you? I ask these people all the time. People are like, how much does it cost? Well, where are you? Where do you want to go? And how fast do you want to get there? A lot of people just ask these 2 questions, and this is stupid. Because I live in Florida. Let's say somebody lives in California. Well, we know the point of origination and we know the point of destination. Are we walking, biking, riding a train, in a car, or in a plane? Those are going to be different price points. How fast do we need to get there is very important as well. And so also going back to like subscribing of one way of doing something. Let's say we have 2 different people and they both want to arrive here. And let's get really nerdy and put this on like a grid, like an X and Y axis. I'm going to tell this person to go up to and left to, where this person goes up to and right to. Well, does that mean I'm crazy? No. It means that we have 2 points of origination and only one singular point of destination. And these people are in different spots. So I'm going to tell them different. There has to be some customization, because if you give everybody the same freaking instructions, they're all lost just in the same direction. No. Yeah, so I really do my darndest to keep people distracted. I'll straight up tell people, you're not ready for this new thing within REI, within my own company. Would it monetarily benefit me and the team and the business? Yeah, but it's not in your best interest. And I wish somebody had told me that on my 30-second program,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll end up rambling if I talk any longer.
No, I love it, man. I love it. I love deep diving other people's coaching programs, because I know you're probably the same as me. Most of the people that I talk to are, we can do so much more together. We can learn from each other the way that we're doing it, and we can help more people together than we ever could by ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the end, if you're coaching, yes, it's a business. Yes, it's got to make money. Yes. And it's, it makes good money when done right.
Yeah.
But I feel like most people get into coaching because they want to help people. And that's the end all be all purpose of coaching, is to help people.
Yeah.
If people like us can do it. I grew up in a normal house in a podunk town of nobody. And I was, I worked in a factory, and I worked my way up into becoming an engineer. Not, I started on the line. Then I worked into maintenance, and then I worked into engineering. I flunked out of college my first year, things like that. And then you have the military background. Like we're nothing special about us. We're just normal dudes, and if we can do it, then surely to goodness anybody else can, right? So I think that should be all of our purposes, is to help others, right?
I tell people pretty consistently, like, it's my job to be the person in the company that I wish I had 8-9 years ago when I was getting started. That's my goal, is to be the person in the company that I wish I had when I got started.
Good, man. That's good. So we're coming up on time right now. We have so much more to talk about, though. So we're going to have to do like a part 2 for this, for sure.
I'd love to.
So before we hop off here, man, tell us, give some advice to most of these people who are new. They're trying to get started. Give some advice to them, and then tell us how we can reach you.
Yeah, I don't like giving generalized advice. I love getting really, really deep into. I'm going to answer your question.
No, you're good. You're good.
In a weird way. I like going deep into somebody's history as well as their present, and then going deep into what they want their future to be. And so I won't answer in a typical way. My advice is, whoever you listen to, make sure they're following that process with you. Make sure they know where you've been, what you're currently going through, the pain, the struggle, the doubt, the logistical hurdles, the emotional toll, whatever the problem is, right? Where you're wanting to go. And make sure that they're the right person that can really help you, that it's their heart set and their mindset, and you know them and you like them and you trust them and you want more of them, type of thing. Because as you talked about, in the very beginning, hiring a coach is the only way to cut the learning curve. And so for everybody, they need to have some sort of a coach or a mentor, or even if it's just a book to start off with. If you're, as I say, balling on a budget, you don't have a lot of money, then a book may be it. And I'm constantly reading books. But here's the thing, there's so much information out there. Think about YouTube. Think about AI. Like, we're getting to I forget who said this. I think it's Alex Hormozy. You know who that is? He said, maybe you can correct me. It's been a long time since I've heard this, but he said something of like, where the information age is way past us. People don't need more information. Matter of fact, there's too much information. You could watch literally till the day you die, you could be consuming content on YouTube and you wouldn't even get 1/100th of 1% of the way through all of the content that's currently on YouTube. And he said, what you need is the right information. And so making sure that that person, you like, you trust, Tom talks about the 5 people, you know what I'm talking about? I haven't been with him long enough to have this memorized, but you and I, we're getting that information from the person that we want to become like, and that's really, really good. So that's my encouragement, is find that person. If that person is Wyatt, shut out the people who are giving you generalized information. Take that with a grain of salt. Maybe it's good for you in a different season, but it's not specialized for you in that moment, in this season of your life. Anyway, your latter question was, how can you find me? Golly, I hate social media. I'm not really on social media, so this is difficult for me, but my website would be www.REI Automated, REI, Real Estate Investor Automated. I do have a decent LinkedIn, actually. You could look me up, Keith Gillespie, at LinkedIn. It's okay. I probably will not message you. Give me, 4 to 6 business weeks to get back to any messages.
No, I love it, man. Thank you. We're going to do a part 2 to this, because
I would love to.
We've got to. But man, if you guys heard anything that you were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a great nugget because that was the first book that I read as well. If you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you need to. It'll change your mindset. I give it out to people that are thinking like, hey, I'm interested in real estate. I always give them that book first, and I say, hey, read that first. But yeah, if you heard something on here and you're like, man, I really relate to that. I want to learn more. I want to get into that. Obviously, if you related more with Keith and the way that he's doing things, absolutely reach out to him 100%. And let him know you came from this podcast, because as a systems and process guy, he wants to know where you came from, right?
Yes.
And if you wanna do some stuff with me, then reach out. Mine is sellerfinancedeals.com or ascendyoursuccess.com. Either one will get you there. But whether you're in or you're out, we'll see you on the next one.